Hi guys, welcome back to another low-tech, low-income budget for a family of four. My name is Ray, and today we are going to be going over our weekly expenses. So I keep track of all my weekly expenses on a spreadsheet, actually on a Google spreadsheet, and that's just the most convenient way for me to track my funds, is to just pull it up there instead of writing everything out. So I don't have a great tracking sheet to show you, but I will just total those up for you and let you know in each of these categories where we are at. So I already have it totaled, but for food this week, we spent 141.06, and our goal was to not spend more than 172.20, or 172.22, and so we were actually under that by 31.16. So that's, I mean, this was a very high number. We didn't need to spend that much. Our goal is generally more like $150 a week. It was just because we were already low. We hadn't spent very much money this month on food, so that's why that goal is so high. And I'll show you how I calculate that out in a minute. But for gas, we are a little bit over our goal. We spent $59.11, and that's because we filled up our 2 tanks. So generally how it works is usually if we're not driving a whole bunch, we don't fill up either, and then we fill them both up. Usually it'd be another we don't fill up either, but here we filled up one of ours, and then we did some extra driving that we didn't expect, and so then we had to fill both of them up again. But usually it alternates, so that's why we're over in that category, but not by much. We are only over by $5.55. Household, we just had to get some organizing supplies. That was $30. And we are under budget $26.44. And then unbudgeted, I did actually have an unbudgeted expense. A friend of mine was going away, and I wanted to get her and her moving away, and I wanted to get her and her family a small gift. So I used some of my allowance, but it wasn't enough to cover it. So I added in this gift, so that is negative $25. So if we add up how much we spent, we have 141.06 plus 59.11 plus 30 plus 25 equals $255.17. And then just to see if we were over or under budget, we'll add up these numbers. 31.16 minus 555 plus 26.44 minus $25 equals, so we were under budget by 27.05. And then here I'm going to set up for week 5. But instead of, my weeks aren't paycheck weeks, it is actually just weeks beginning on Saturday and ending on Sunday. And so beginning on Sunday and ending on Saturday. And so the first and the last weeks of the month are generally shorter weeks. So this month in August, a week starting on Sunday actually then ends on Monday, because Tuesday is September 1st. So this week is only actually 2 days. And so we're just going to go with our balances here. Excuse me while I look at my cheat sheet. So we have a remaining balance of $80.37 for food, a remaining balance of $9.75 for gas, and we shouldn't have to use that one. A remaining balance of $42.57, and unbudgeted is at $36. So that is a total of $168.69. And then how I calculate out the goals Um, and maybe I should be a little bit more clear about how, well, no, I'll go over that in a minute. So how I calculate out the goals generally is I take the amount of days left in the month, I divide the balance by that number of days, and then I multiply it by how many days are in the week that I'm calculating out. So as an example, this balance was at the beginning of this week, the balance for food was 221.43, and I divided it by, I think there were 9 days left in the month, and then I multiplied it by 7 days in this week, and I got 172.22. Now, because this is the last week, there are 2 days left in the month, and there are 2 days in the week, so these goals are all going to look the same, even though I do not want to spend $80.37 on groceries. I do not want to spend $42.57 on household, and I definitely do not want to spend $36 on unbudgeted, which is why this is actually going to be a 0. Like normally, if all was even, if every day of the month was even, I would divide for food. The beginning budget is $6.75. I divide that by 31 days, and so it would be like $21.77 per day. And so if I only had 2 days in the week, like I do in week 5, I would only want to spend $43.55. So that's more of the ballpark that I'm looking for. It's just because we haven't spent as much as we usually do on food. Anyway, long story short, let's see how much I don't want to spend. So that total is $132.69. So that's set up for this coming week. Now let's get back to over here, our expenses for this week 4. I know there are a lot of numbers on this sheet and it can be overwhelming, so I'm just going to zoom in really close. I'm just totaling up numbers from my other worksheets. So for other payments, so these are for the variable expenses. This is the total spent. And the total spent in the other category was nothing. The total spent for our bills this week was $350.23. And so I add these two numbers together, $350.23 plus $255.17, and I get an incorrect answer. Do I get an incorrect answer? Yes, I get an incorrect answer. Let me try this again. $255.17 plus what was I thinking? What was I thinking? I was on some other weirdo week, so that's why it's coming out all wrong. You guys, you're supposed to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, I knew that something was wrong because we spent a lot of money on we had some expensive dental work. Bills were $266. So the total expenses here were $255.17 plus $229 plus $266. Sorry, I'm out of frame. There's the number I was looking for. $750.17 for the overall expenses. Now, I like to know how much is actually leaving our bank account, leaving our checkbook, leaving our wallet. So total outgoing includes money that's from our cash envelopes or for sinking funds. So it's not necessarily from this month's check, because some of these things that in our sinking funds we've been saving for months. But I like to include it just so I know the cash flow, how much was leaving this month and this week. So in our cash envelopes, we had a variety of charges, but that was $79.50. And for sinking funds this month, I think, or sorry, this week, I think most of this was car related and then school related. So if we add the total expenses plus the cash envelopes plus the sinking funds, we get a total outgoing of our bank account of $1,026.67. So there you have it. That's a general wrap up, and just a couple more days and I'll be able to do our total monthly expenses with y'all. So that is it for now. Thank you again so much for stopping by and checking out my low budget, horribly recorded setup. Woo! Yeah, have a great one. Bye-bye.